As a general rule of thumb, I don't buy online-only games because servers get shut down, player bases drop and dwindle, and you end up with an empty shell of something that you can't play because developers don't transition an online game to being playable offline. And I think that practice is despicable and disgusting, and I try not to support it. Headbangers Rhythm Royale is a rare exception for me because it's a rhythm action game and I can't say no to those, and it does it in a PvP Battle Royale style. There's 23 mini-games that you can play across 4 rounds, with 30 pigeons or players taking part. The idea is that online players, and then filled out with bots if it can't get to the full 30, will go into battle, and after each round, in rounds 1 and 2, the bottom 10 pigeons or players will be eliminated. In round 3, the bottom 5 will, leaving 5 pigeons or players to go toe-to-toe to see who can win the headbanging Rhythm Royale. These 23 mini-games, though, aren't strictly all rhythm action, and I think this needed to be made clear earlier on in some of the descriptions of this game. It's a mixture of memory games, reflex and reaction time games, listening to sounds and understanding what instrument that actually is and sounding it back. Quite a lot of like copy and response type things, so you'll get played out a melody and you'll have to then replay it back using the right buttons. And whilst it isn't strictly always right rhythm action, you've got to do stuff to the beat, I think the diversity of minigames actually is a big, huge strength for Headbangers Rhythm Royale, because not everyone is going to want to tap away buttons to the beat all the time constantly and then be pitted up against each other. This does mean that you have to think more roundedly about sound, music, memory, rhythm, call and response, and it's really well put together. I also love the aesthetic. The pigeons are super, super cute. They've got this, with the right analog stick, you can spin around your neck and they'll go like, "Wow, wow, wow, wow." And everyone, if you get some people online playing together to do it, will all be doing it stupidly. And as you play through these mini games, actually you can all do the next spin at certain times to trigger a bonus round, which can help buy you or earn you extra breadcrumbs or slices of bread. And this is the online currency for going into the customization shop to customize your pigeon. And you can get different voice snippets, different clothes, hats, monocules, dress up as a fruit or another animal, change the colour of the pigeon or get some tattoos. There's loads on there, which is just as well because the pigeon you get out of the box is usually quite plain and rote, and it needs some customization. Some of the great things about rhythm games are all present here. So you've got some really good latency checking going on, and despite connecting to an online game and playing through something that's heavily timing based, I found no problems with lag, no issues with connection, no problems with hitting something and it not quite syncing up to the actual game itself. Everything is quite customizable. It will tap you in so that your audio and visual alignment is correct. All of that is supremely well done with Headbangers Rhythm Royale, and it needed to be, because a rhythm game as a battle royale online, can you imagine the rage if you felt like the game was penalising you because you had some slight ping problems or something? From a technical standpoint, it all works really well too, because the game is cross-play, so if you're on PC, you can play with PlayStation, Xbox and so on and so forth, and that all works really, really well. It is a single-player experience though, and I'll come round to this later on, but the forced online nature does mean that a very small player base doesn't necessarily fill up the 30 pigeons. The most I've ever seen in a match that I've played is 6. And so you've got lots of AI pigeon bots that will fill out the remaining gaps. They all look quite plain, so they're easy to spot. But also they are generally quite easy to beat too, and it's very rare that you'll have AI really challenge you. I'm quite an experienced rhythm action player, so maybe I don't have the best lens to view this through, but if there's matches where I'm the only human player, and that happens sadly quite often because the player base for this game is quite low, and so the AI is really easy to beat. As you do that, you'll be earning your crumbs, which will also not only do your customization but unlock extra things through a season pass. And we're currently in a very long season 3, which added in an additional new mode, which alongside that 23 minigame kind of battle royale element adds in a 1v1 rhythm action fighter game. This is much more traditional rhythm action, where you've got a collection of songs, all that are superbly well put together. The soundtrack in this game is phenomenal, but particularly in this 1v1 fighter mode. You pick songs, and you can have 3, I think it is, maybe 4 in a battle maximum. And each song adds in additional complexity by adding in new buttons, so it tries to amp up the difficulty to catch out players. Because as you build up combos of hits, that will then send across an attack to your opponent to damage them and reduce down their health bar, just like a fighting game. This works until there's only one left, and if you survive all of the songs that you've chosen in the round, it comes into a sudden death mode, where just as soon as you make mistakes, you chip away at the health, and it's quite intense. And this is superb, as is the main game, when you've got real human players involved, because the difficulty really amps up. This game has attracted some real rhythm action giants or specialists, and so you can really be like 99% accurate and sometimes still come in second. And you're like, damn it, someone perfected it. The beauty of that is superb when you've got humans. The problem with adding in the second mode is that the already small player base is now split between 2 modes, and then 2 never meet. And so you've got the online main mode where sometimes you're the only human player and the bots will drop out, and so it's an easy win. And the same with the other side with the 1v1. If you get a bot, they drop out at the end of like the second song maximum because they're so easy to overturn. And it turns what is a potential 9 out of 10 game down to a 6 or a 7 because there's no challenge. This game desperately needs an offline mode. And the fact that you can fill out everything with bots shows that it clearly doesn't need to be an online only game. And it's really frustrating because this is a game where it's totally made for 4-player local battles. It would totally work because almost all of the mini games are seen from a single viewpoint, so no one's seeing anything particularly different. And so you kind of sit there and think, why are you forcing yourself into a really empty experience? And you see the Steam forums and the comments in the YouTube videos and all of that kind of stuff is offline mode when? And it's not coming, and it makes it so difficult to then recommend this game because given the really sparse online player rate, do I think this game will exist in 2 years' time? I'm not entirely sure. And that's a real criminal shame because this game is a technical marvel. It's got a fantastic soundtrack that I'm quite happy to listen to outside of the game, full of a variety of different genres. And it's got some really unique and interesting spins on what rhythm, music and sound could mean as a minigame. They're all really well put together. It just needs an offline mode, and then I can say everyone go buy because then you're protected for if this comes offline. And it's a real shame, but this is exactly why I don't buy online games, because if you don't have a substantial player base to maintain server costs and so on and so forth, you're just a corporate decision away from having the plug and the game pulled out from under your rug, and that's a really unfair place to be. So, is Headbangers Rhythm Royale a great game? Yes, absolutely. Oh god, I sound like the HelloFresh advert. But seriously, like, wait for the offline mode before committing, and then if you love rhythm action games, buy. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.